Okay guys, have I told you about the time that I thought my hormones were well and truly fucked? Well, I'm going to tell you now, because this is something that I think so many of you will relate to, particularly if you are a woman over the age of 30. At the back end of last year, August time, I went to the doctors for my first set of blood tests because I was convinced there was something wrong with me. I was knackered all the time. My appetite was inconsistent. I was really anxious. I was really hormonal. I felt very unsettled. But it was more the complete wipeout fatigue that was causing me the problems. And I genuinely thought they were going to turn around and be like, yeah, you're vitamin D deficient, you're anemic, something is wrong. Tell me where every single blood test came back fine. I even pushed for sex hormone testing. So estrogen, luteinizing hormone, I can't remember what else they did. I think they did progesterone. They were meant to do testosterone and they forgot, and that's the only one I don't have a firm answer for. But every single one of them was absolutely fine. I even went back 3 months later, like, no, something has got to be broken. It is not possible for me to feel like this. I'm 34, I've got no kids, I sleep well, I'm very physically active, all of that. I genuinely thought there was going to be something wrong with me. And I was actually, if I'm being honest, borderline gutted that there was nothing wrong, because what this then pulled it down to was stress and anxiety or chronic fatigue syndrome. Chronic fatigue, I was told, would be very hard to diagnose and also doesn't really come with a treatment plan. Stress and anxiety, more believable for me. I am somebody who probably came out of the womb stressed. And I am very aware that my stress levels have got higher and higher, particularly in the last couple of years because my business has doubled. And I also moved house last year. Like, we bought a house, we moved from the southeast up to Manchester, all of this stuff. So like, for me, I was like, well, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that this is stress and anxiety. But I didn't want to believe that it was, because I was like, I want this to be a problem that can be fixed with medication, being very honest. Because I'm somebody who does a lot of the basics right. Like, I train regularly. I get my steps in every day. I sleep mostly 6.5 to 8 hours a night. I can sleep 9 or 10 hours a weekend. That's my superpower. I get time outside. You know, I don't really drink much caffeine after 2 p.m. Blah, 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 blah. Surely there had to be something wrong. Not a thing. I think what I was approaching was something akin to burnout. I have a funky relationship with the word burnout, or the phrase burnout. And I am somebody who is very much like, that's not me. That's not me. Because I run on I'm never doing enough. I cannot possibly struggle when there are people with bigger businesses than mine. Like, that's my personality type. Terrible. My friend / mentor is always like, no, you're doing all right. You're doing a lot. And I actually cried not so long ago because somebody that I work with told me that the person we work with had said that I work really fucking hard and I'm one of the hardest workers they know. And this person's got a way bigger business than mine. And I full on cried because I am somebody who is very freaking hard on myself. So now we've discovered that there is nothing wrong with me. I thought for this week's update, I'd run you through all of the things that I did to get myself back. January 2026 for me was about getting some of my spark back and becoming the person again that my boyfriend fell in love with, not this stressy, anxious, knackered person who was quite disengaged at points with her own business, who was a bit like, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if I should do this. Like, I was having all of these negative thoughts, and that's not really me. Like, I don't think I'm somebody that errs on the negative side of life. I can be quite pessimistic, I can be quite sometimes, but I'd like really got to a place where I was like, I'm just not having a nice time. So these are all the things I did, okay? Number one was I had to take a good, long, hard look at myself and the boundaries that I was putting in place. I was letting work rule everything. I start work at 6 a.m. often. I wasn't finishing until 8 o'clock. I was always feeling like I had to basically be on call for my clients. I was checking my messages on weekends. I've got my one-to-one clients. I've got my group coaching clients. I've now got the app that I launched at the back end of 2025. I've got a lot of people in my world, like 100, plus I work inside another coach's program and deal with another 50 clients a week there. So I've got like 150 people a week that in some capacity I am dealing with. In hindsight, maybe I can work out why I was reaching burnout. I'm notoriously shit at taking time off, and I didn't actually take a holiday off last year up until I took time off at Christmas. And I worked all throughout our house move. I worked throughout our house move when we moved out of my flat and into my dad's, and then up here, and we were doing the work on the house. Like, I worked throughout the whole thing. So 2026 rolls around and I was like, I need to get a semblance of balance back. I need to implement, let's call them working hours, where when I am done for the evening, I get better at putting my phone down and not just sending one more message and not just checking in. Now, I will be honest, it pains me to say this. It pains me beyond belief that I had to buy a device. I had to spend £65 on a device to block off my social media. I've always had downtime limits on my phone, but you know what downtime limits do? You can just override them. And I was fucking overriding them all the time. 15 more minutes on Instagram, it won't hurt. Quick check in on that client message because they said this at about 7 p.m. No. This little brick device here blocks off my phone based on a routine that I set. So I now have my work WhatsApp blocked off between 8 p.m. and 7:30 a.m. every single day, yes, inclusive of weekends. Weekends, it is blocked off entirely. From Saturday morning to Sunday night, I cannot physically access WhatsApp on my work phone, my work number. I can get it on my computer. I have been known to occasionally check in, but basically, like, when I am out, it's a no-go. I've also recently added, well, social media was also blocked off. I'm not really massively one for Facebook, don't really use TikTok, but I am an Instagram girly. That has joined the rankings, and more recently, shamefully, the last month, I've added my emails on as well. So I get nothing. My phone after 8 p.m. is great for Google, texting my friends on my personal number, and taking pictures. That is it. Honestly, one of the greatest things I've done. I know the brick is expensive. If you can do it with other apps, awesome. But if you want like a physical blocker in place, this is your bad boy. Because if you leave this at home, you only have 5 emergency unbricks in your system. So you only have 5 times where you can treat it as an actual emergency. Obviously, yes, you can take it in your bag. Like if I go away, I take it with me. But 9 times out of 10, there's red here. Like it's not moving. Okay. And that for me has been one of the most amazing things. I know not everybody is as chronically online as an online coach is. Like, we have this weird bubble. We're engaging with our clients. We're creating content. We're consuming content. We're chatting to you guys on stories, messages. I love social media for so many things, but having time and space away from it has been a game changer. And I think even if you do not work online, having time and space away from social media, away from the comparison trap, people's perfect lives, the fact that Instagram, social media are highlight reels, one of the best things you can do. So if you are looking to get a bit of yourself back, recommend. So I have done a fat loss phase. I can't talk about how I got a bit of my spark back without talking about this. 2025 was a high stress year. January, I moved out of my apartment. My boyfriend moved out of his. We moved in with my dad for 2.5 months. We then moved to Manchester, straight in at the deep end at the end of April. As I say, nothing changed business-wise. I was actually launching the next intake of my group program when I was moving, both times. It was horrendously timed. It was a lot. Then comes in getting everything set up, wardrobes installed, new carpets, new bed, learning where we're going, new gym, all of that stuff. Straight into 10 days after we moved up, I was back down in Kent for my first public speaking event. Like, it was just go, 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 go. Great, joyful, blessed, love it, would not change it for the world. It was just a lot. And with no actual time off, I was just stressed. I kept trying to start fat loss phases last year and they just didn't really get off the ground. And I'd settled at a weight that I wasn't feeling particularly happy with. I think as an offset of like all the upheaval in the first quarter of the year, I gained a couple of kilos and it just stayed. And then I wasn't really getting anything off the ground. Nothing had changed. I was still training, but I wasn't loving it. Steps were okay, but there were a few days where I just couldn't really be bothered. Cardio had pretty much dropped off a cliff. So like all of these things had combined to me just being a bit lazy with myself. And it's fine, like I have no shame in admitting that. I was doing like the bare minimum at the gym. I was doing like 40-minute training sessions. I was aiming for 15 minutes cardio, but I was just kind of running myself into the ground. Hence I thought there was something wrong with me, but there wasn't. So April this year, I decided, after spending a bit of time getting my basics in order, I decided I was going in on a fat loss phase. Truthfully, it's been awesome. It's been awesome from a confidence perspective. It's been awesome from a drive perspective, but I couldn't have done it much sooner than I had because I wasn't there. I think sometimes we think that fat loss phase is just you cut your calories and away you go. When you're navigating a lot, dieting is a stressor. It's a stressor that you're adding in on top of an already stressful life. So you need to get a handle on your stresses first, hence things like me blocking off my phone, having more boundaries around my work. I lost some one-to-one clients, but I deliberately didn't push to replace them because with launching the app, with launching the group, I had enough to be getting on with and I couldn't have actually handled any more at that time. So I like closed my books for a bit. I didn't, say to people like, I'm looking for one-to-one clients. I stopped people being able to book calls with me. I just needed to strip it back and recalibrate. So then come April, I got myself set up with my new training program. I am following my own training plans on Solo. If anyone's interested, I follow the Hourglass 4-day program. They are mine. I basically created an app so I could write training plans for myself and I make absolutely no apology for that. And I went into a deficit and I gave myself just 6 weeks to begin with the end date of my birthday. Now, fat loss will not be a priority goal for many of you, but for me, I was at the top end. I was at the upper limit of me feeling comfortable. And actually, I was feeling very uncomfortable. My running had dropped off a cliff. I lost my ability to do pull-ups. I was just feeling heavy. And it just wasn't the one for me. I know where I'm happiest, okay? I no longer want to be down at 63 kilos anymore, but I don't want to be up at 79. That for me, it's too much. And despite having a medical earlier on this year and like my body fat levels are fine, my visceral fat's great, my BMI was fine. Their scales brought me in at 2 kilos lighter, so that was a bonus. Probably wouldn't be great if they used my numbers, but like physically, I'm good. My resting heart rate's great. My heart rate variability is good. My recovery's fine. So I was like, cool, let's do fat loss. And so far I'm 4 kilos down and I'm feeling so much better. I'm back in clothes that weren't feeling so great. I feel more confident showing up in the gym. I feel more confident filming content. I know like we're in the middle of a fucking heat wave, so I'm rocking around with no top on, but I wouldn't have done this that long ago. Yes, I just need the walking pad into the wall. It's fine, the house is due at repaint already anyway. But that for me was something that was actually quite important. And I'm not saying it will be for all of you. It's more like a sidebar in how I've shown up. But it has helped, and having a bit of a priority focus and putting me, dare I say, to the top of the pile a little bit has been bloody great. The other thing that I did was I just renewed my focus on whole foods and stopping snacking. I got into a habit of chocolate after dinner. In maintenance, like I am a bit more flexible, I'm a bit more free with stuff like that, but it was just becoming a bit too habitual. And that coupled with finding the best bakeries in Manchester and going to some great wine bars, everything had slipped a little bit. And again, I don't make any apologies for that. Like, I feel like the moral of the story sometimes is we look for it to be our hormones. We look for it to be our cortisol, our reproductive hormones. We want it to be something. And this is for any of you who are in my scenario where you've done the tests and it's not a something and you're having to look at yourself. It is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to say, yes, I have dropped the ball on XYZ, or I have not been doing ABC correctly. But we have to take ownership of that, because sometimes it is us and it's not a plan problem, or it's not a hormone problem, it's not a sleep problem, it's that we have just stopped doing what we needed to do. Uncomfortable, but necessary. And that's where I kind of went on. So I am still chronically tired. My Oura ring still says I am very freaking stressed all the time, but I'm just like, if it's been like that for the last couple of years, maybe this is just me. The next thing I want to implement is more regular time off. So we'll see how that goes. That's like the next thing to try and do. I have it written in my coaching terms and conditions. I have 4 weeks off a year. I primarily only take like the week between Christmas and New Year off. So that's maybe like 7 to 10 days. Last year, don't think I missed a single day of check-ins at all. This year I have just booked a girls trip. We're going away at the end of July, which I'm so excited for. I am going to be missing 1 day of check-ins that day. Normally I'm like, if I miss a day, I truncate them, I move them all together. But this time I am actually just going to be taking the Monday off, because I can. And because it's actually going to be really good for me. And time out of the business and away from the business is not only great for me, but it's also great for my clients to be like, okay, yeah, I can do my shit and I can handle it knowing that she's not here, and that I can hold myself to that standard, because ultimately every single one of my clients will leave at some point and they need to be able to take this shit and run with it. And that's why I'm not I will hold your hand and I will spoon feed you coach. I will give you the tools. I will give you the kick up the arse. I will give you the motivation. I will hold your hand at the beginning, but I will also be like, come on, you say you want this. Like, nobody can get these results for you, so you will need to do the work. So that's what we're going to be doing this year. That's the next thing, actually having time off and doing it without guilt. I am not online at the weekends. You will hear from me first thing Monday, and I'm managing that okay. And I've stopped having freakouts about that. But the next bit is this. And again, from how you can take this, I mean, you can listen to this and be like, cool story, bro, and then crack on. Or you can be like, okay, actually, maybe I need to look at myself a little bit, because how are you sleeping? Are you eating regularly? Are you eating mostly a whole food, limited, ultra processed diet? Are you getting your protein? Are you moving? Are you creating time and space for yourself to have downtime and to have fun and to relax without a phone in your hand? If there is nothing wrong with you hormonally, these are the places to look at. And yes, sometimes fat loss will be part of that goal. Yes, sometimes that will be very important. Often it will not. You will just do this because it is going to make you feel better. I am back in fat loss. I am trying to extend that. You guys are here. If you're here, you know this is part of the fat loss series or my journey series. But this is how I've started. And we're 6 months into the year and I feel better. I can tell I'm in need of a break again. Learning, paying attention, listening to my body. I am becoming more aware that I am in need of some time off and I am in need of a break. I've got a break coming up with the Strong Girl Gang. So my group coaching program, we're in our last round before summer. And then I've got a 3-week gap where I'm not doing anything for that up until the next launch. So we're not doing them back to back. That finishes at the beginning of August. And then I will not be launching again until the last week in August for a start in September. So there is a little bit of a break there where the workload will diminish. I've got the girls trip coming up and then hopefully we'll be going back to Seville in September. But genuinely go to, like, if you are struggling with tiredness, anxiety, stress, go to the doctor, get all your bloods done. Be prepared for the fact that it might not be your hormones, it might not be your cortisol, it might not be your testosterone, it might not be that you're 34 and in perimenopause. You might be, but you also might not be. And if they don't find anything, you have to be prepared to either suck it up and accept where you're at, which is no fun, or go, right, this is where I'm at and this is what I need to do. This is where I started. I am 35. I have spent the last decade working with hundreds of people to improve their health, their fitness, help them lose fat, improve their relationship with food, build strength. So much of that work is around changing hormones, changing life cycles, and all of that. Like, I am coming to you from a place of, I do this day in, day out, but sometimes even us, we need to kick up the arse. But that's okay. I'd love to say there'd be a juicy fat loss update coming soon, but nothing's really happened. The heat wave is scuppering many a plan. And we've had a little bit of a hormonal dip. Being honest, a little bit of a hormonal dip. Completely had the weekend to just do whatever the fuck I wanted. So I'm back in, I'm back aligned, I'm picking up. We'll see. I'm chronically bloated and uncomfortable at the moment. I'm very, very sweaty. So there will be no pure fat loss update this week, but I might walk you through. I'll try and film more of my training and we can do a training update and I can run you through what my training is currently looking like. Obviously, if you want to see that, please let me know in the comments. If there is anything you want me to cover, again, please reach out, DM me, email me. pop it in the comments, because I love chatty vlogs like this. But if you are like, we want more, then fucking tell me and I'll make it happen. Have a gorgeous day. Stay cool in the sunshine, please and thank you. And I will be back with you next week. Goodbye.